Hey everybody, what you doing? Are you bored? I am too. What do you think we should do? Should we go, dare I say it, down? Should we go down the rabbit hole? Let's do it. Go get your boots on, grab your flashlight, get a snack, maybe something to drink. Hold on to the rope, don't let go. Follow me, let's go down the rabbit Are we ready to explore some of the other options that may have happened to summer? Let's explore some of these. And today we are going to explore the real estate market in 2021. You got to remember, in 2021, the pandemic was at its peak. Doctors were advising to get the vaccine. They were also advising for you to stay 6 feet apart. This is why families and people from the city and from urban areas wanted to move to rural areas. They wanted to be able to spread out and have that freedom and be free from the pandemic. This is what caused the boom in real estate in 2021. The realtors have not seen anything like this since 2005. And there were multiple properties for sale on Ben Hill Road and on Beach Creek. So we're going to look at those today, and we're going to look at some news reports, listen to some news reports. This is a rabbit hole. I'm not saying that this is exactly what happened this summer, but it's definitely plausible. Strangers came up there on Beach Creek and on Ben Hill who would have not been there if the pandemic wasn't happening and that property wasn't for sale. So let's go explore other options down the rabbit hole. Let's go. 2021, they had not seen a boom like that since 2005, 2006. The inventory for available homes to buy was very slim pickings. You would have bidding wars. Sometimes that people would buy properties sight unseen, just like Jackie Dobbs. He bought his over the internet. He didn't see the property. He just bought it. They went through a bidding war. We're looking at the possibility of an abduction for summer. It's true. So people that lived in the cities and also in the urban areas were looking to purchase property in real estate in the rural areas because parents and families were wanting to be able to let their kids spread out and be away from the pandemic. It caused a huge spike in sales. Realtors were worried that they would not have enough homes to sustain the amount of buyers that were wanting to move. And the cost of housing tripled when you bought a home or property. This is why people who owned real estate and properties sold. It was definitely an incentive because you could triple your money. This is also a reason why strangers would come into Ben Hill Road and Beach Creek. There were several properties for sale. And if you've ever bought a home or any kind of property, you don't just go and look at one piece of real estate. No, you look at everything in that surrounding area. And the competition was so fierce that some people bought property sight unseen. And Tennessee was one of the #1 areas that people were moving into from the city. So this is definitely an option to why we haven't found summer. People don't get their background checks to go look at property. Anybody could have been coming to look at property. Look at Jody Sue. Jody Sue said there were strangers coming on that road on Ben Hill all the time. Look at what Don said. Don said the same thing. There were people coming to Ben Hill Road who normally wouldn't come there. They were looking at the property that was for sale. There were at least 3 properties on Ben Hill, multiple ones on Beach Creek. So today, we're going to listen to some of the news reports, and I'm going to prove to you that there was property for sale on Ben Hill and Beach Creek at the same time summer went missing. Another question that I have, and this is for the law enforcement. Since you had ordered or asked property owners to search their own property, I hope, for summer's sake, that you took into account that a lot of this property is owned from out-of-state people. That means that a lot of people who own some of this property does not live in the Beach Creek area, nor do some of them live even in the state of Tennessee. A lot of this property is hunting property. Did this property get searched since owners were supposed to search their own properties? Did we take into account for that? There's a lot of acres and a lot of property that was for sale in 2021 when summer went missing. Did that property get searched the property that the owners don't live on? Did that get searched? I sure hope it did. Did we take that in consideration? That a lot of that property on Ben Hill and on Beach Creek is not owned by people who actually live there? That's a question. That's a good question. Think about it.
News Channel 11's Amy Cockrum spoke with the Northeast Tennessee Association of Realtors on where the housing market stands in each city.
Realtors tell me that small cities in our area are seeing significant demand for housing. They say this could have to do with the lower prices in more remote areas, as well as a desire to just be in a quieter place.
You know, there's not a lot of lots in Kingsport or Johnson City left to develop. So where are the developers? Where are the builders going? They're going to where there's land.
If you look around, it's not too hard to spot a for sale sign in the Tri-Cities and surrounding areas. Northeast Tennessee Association of Realtors Treasurer Kim Keith says her organization has been carefully tracking home sales growth rates in the area.
Back in July, I think we had a 20% growth rate year over year on homes that sold in Johnson City. So basically, if you had a $200,000 house and you bought it a year ago, it's worth $240 a year later. That's a 20% growth. Right now, we're at about 14 to 15% growth. So it's still up.
Blountville and Elizabethton lead home sales growth rates this year with a 54.5 and 34% growth rate. Rogersville is also seeing significant demand.
It's a good 30 minutes from Kingsport, and it has a lot of growth. And I think that's just buyers coming in from Florida, California, New York, and saying, hey, I want some land. I want to be truly in the middle of nowhere. Rogersville was a little bit of a surprise on that one.
Keith says as a native to the area, she's not surprised that people are itching to move here.
We are on the map because we live in God's country in a beautiful area. So as realtors, we are selling houses and doing our thing.
If you are looking to buy a home right now, realtors tell me the most important thing you can do is do your research. In Johnson City, Amy Cochran, News Channel 11.
If you're struggling to buy a home right now in the Tri-Cities, you're not alone. Realtors say, and buyers actually, both say the market is tough right now for everyone except those selling. Kate Nemrich has more on the current market now and added competition out of state.
Exciting time to be a realtor. It's a frustrating time to be a realtor, but it's a frustrating time to be that home buyer.
Karen Randolph, managing broker for Century 21 Legacy, says in her 26-year career, this is the fastest paced market she's ever seen.
And the Johnson City market is like less than 1 month of current inventory. What that means, if no other listings hit the market, then what is available would be absorbed in less than a month.
And the competition is fierce.
It's not uncommon to see 11, 12 multiple offers on a property that is in a price point that is moving quickly.
Many of those buyers aren't local. According to both Pods and U-Haul, Tennessee was one of the most moved into states in 2020.
Buyers coming from the New England states. We see folks coming from Florida, and we're seeing folks come in from Texas.
One family coming up from Texas is the Maloneys. They made one trip up to scout locations, but eventually bought sight unseen.
We had driven around some neighborhoods in this school district, so we had kind of a feeling, but we actually hadn't even driven by this neighborhood yet.
They have one piece of advice for other buyers in their situation.
The place you live is important, but if you settle on a place that you really don't like just to get to the location, you're going to like the location a little bit less.
In Johnson City, Kate Nemrich, News Channel.
Real estate experts tell me that the rental market is considered to be very tight right now. The vacancy rate for single-family rentals sits at about 1.5%, which is compared to the national average of just over 3%.
There were 110,386 investor-owned single-family Tri-Cities rental properties during the first quarter of 2021, which is 42% of the region's total housing inventory.
Rental, apartments, sales, new homes. We haven't seen anything like this since about 2005 and 2006.
Don Fenley, a data analyst for the Northeast Tennessee Association of Realtors, says Johnson City's market has less than a month's supply of inventory.
If you go back to about 4 or 5 years, the average supply was somewhere around 10, 11 months on the market.
Sellers are taking advantage of this time and getting top dollars for their homes, but finding a new home won't come as quick as many would hope.
And they're turning around and renting for 6 months to a year until they can find something to purchase.
From a landlord's point of view, Universal Development and Construction owner Shane Abraham says this has created a stable and positive environment.
Because of the opportunities for remote work, we've also had a lot of people, some level of people moving into this area beyond maybe the influx of people would have typically been.
He says the best advice he can give for renters is to give themselves a minimum of 60 to 90 days. They'll be sure to find what they need.
I would start your process early. Our leasing agents and property managers will receive calls from people that were needing it yesterday, and that's tough. And typically those folks are working off waiting lists for any kind of new products.
Home renters who plan to continue their search are advised to be wary of scams on certain websites. Anyone looking should always do their homework and to always have a pro with them. In Jonesboro, Febin County.
I did. Alpha 101. Figured out. We did that the other day. We took everything and put that in.
So are these guys going someplace? They're going to search?
Yeah, they are.
Just want to confirm that. I just wanted to confirm that.
They're using that bus so they don't congest up there with vehicles and stuff.
It's a tight place up there, isn't it?
Yeah. Every back roads up here. They just figured it'd be better to make the command post here and then, like I said, shuttle them all one way, and then if you have to, he'll come back and get more.
Yeah. It's like some of them are deploying.
There you go.
Don't be safe. You don't want to be in Hill Road in? Nope. Turn left. Well, there we go. This is the early bomb. If that was, I'm guessing that.
Good afternoon. I'm Leslie Earhart with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. We can't thank you enough for your continuing coverage and helping us get the word out about summer. Before I turn it over to Captain Coop, I want to reiterate that there are two aspects of this investigation: the search and the investigation itself. You've heard a lot about the search because that's something we can elaborate on. What you haven't heard a lot about is what's happening outside of the search. Rest assured that agents and Hawkins County detectives are investigating this fully. All avenues are being explored. As of this afternoon, we've received approximately 85 tips. Agents and officers continue to follow up on each lead that comes in. At the same time, teams continue to search the area around Ben Hill Road for any sign of summer. Captain Tim Coop is with the Churchill Rescue Squad. He's currently serving as the incident commander for ground search operations. He's going to talk about the status of the search and the specialized teams being utilized today. Captain.
Thank you, Leslie. Once again, I wish we could be bringing you guys better news, but this time on the search side of operations, we have no further new news. The following methods are continuing to be used today to try to locate summer. Ground crews comprised of over 100 trained professionals. Aerial and aviation being completed by helicopter and fixed-wing aircraft, multiple canines, and also utilizing a specialized advanced mapping. The following new methods of search being utilized today are dive teams, hazardous and extreme terrain search teams, subject matter experts. We have deployed the state TAC and radio system to increase radio coverage for search and law enforcement efforts. USAR, the urban search and rescue teams, and also have deployed state and federal resources. At this time, we have a total of 41 agencies involved in being represented in the search for summer whales. Thank you. I'll now hand it over to Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson.
First of all, I want to thank y'all for coming. As the captain said, we've got trained professionals in the woods. We know exactly where they are, how they're doing. They check on them routinely. We know how many's out there, who's out there, and we know when they come back.
In speaking with dive teams, what are you guys actually doing with them? Is that searching ponds, creeks, lakes? Could you just elaborate a little bit more on what that search has looked like? We talked about around the area.
Yes. So our specialized teams that spoke on, the USAR, the dive teams, as both Sheriff Roy Lawson and Leslie spoke, we are pursuing every avenue. We're covering every ground cover. We're covering every aspect.
Sheriff, I have a question for you as far as the investigation goes. I know you probably can't comment on a whole lot, but are you able to say if you've executed any search warrants during this time?
Actually, we've done a tremendous amount of searches, and every one has been a consent search.
Can you kind of go into what is a practice?
If you have information about Summer, if you saw Summer the day she went missing, anything like that, you captured a photo on a trail camera or surveillance camera, that's a credible tip. Anything that would assist us. Something you see on social media that you know is somebody's opinion or just speculation, that's not a credible tip.
Is there a point in this search when you all will come to the conclusion that this is not a lost child anymore, that this is possibly an abduction? Is there a amount of time or amount of territory?
Well, at this time, the circumstances leading to Summer's disappearance are very much under investigation. So currently, it's an active and ongoing investigation. We're not going to stop until we determine what happened to her, and we're just taking it one day at a time.
Law enforcement aspect, you know, we have the TBI system in my office and the FBI, and it's a partnership and a joint operation where if somebody comes in with a tip, just whichever agent standing there, whichever officer, whether it's mine, one of the TBI or FBI agents, they jump on it. It doesn't matter who solves the case, whatever. We just want to find Summer. That's first and foremost.
More question. I actually have one last question regarding something that the father told us yesterday. He was saying that she would never leave their sort of hill where they live, and he highly believes that this is an abduction. Is there anything that you can say that maybe could point to that? He mentioned something about the canines going along a trail that runs dead. So is there anything that you guys have seen that proves this, or is there any sign that that may be true?
We're exploring all avenues, so at this time we can't confirm that. However, in the event that we do develop that information and confirm it was an abduction and have information to share, you will be the first to know. And we want to reassure the community that we will let them know immediately. That's information that we would want to get out to the public as quickly as possible. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you being here. We'll continue to update you as updates become available. Thank you. Any evidence at this point to confirm that's what occurred. For that reason, the ground search for Summer continues. It's possible that she wandered off and is lost and afraid. Sheriff Ronnie Lawson is going to talk more about what we need from property owners at this point. Sheriff?
Thank you. We use every available resource that we have. And today I want to use you all. I want the word to get out to all the residents in the Upper Beach Creek community, Hawkins County, and Sullivan County. We need the residents to go back today, tonight, tomorrow, as soon as possible, go back and check their entire property, any outbuildings, any barns, any place a child could hide. We desperately need you to do that for us. It's easier for you to check your own property than it is to send officers there. We have not stopped. As the captain will tell you, we've been 24/7 for 6 days now. So we desperately need help from the community now in searching their own property. Ben Hill Road in that area, that's the main, because she's 5 years old and she left the house. Evidently, she got a little farther than they expected.